A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Yes, today is Star Wars Day. A very sad Star Wars Day as we lost Peter Mayhew this weekend. And I want to say, I miss you, buddy. Chewbacca was my number 2. He's always been a favorite of mine. Yoda's my number 1. But Chewie, you'll always be missed. My heart sank a little bit hearing that news. But today I want to show you my vintage collection. My X-Wing is all on its own. My TIE Fighters are in a TIE Fighter section with figures. I like displaying my ships with figures. The battle-damaged one has some newer modern figures next to it. The white one has a couple TIE pilots. My Interceptor, as you saw, has all my Imperials by it. A bunch of Imperial officers and Stormtroopers and Biker Scouts and the new Tarkin figure. I have my Chewbacca, shrine, because I was saying Chewbacca is one of my favorites. So everything Chewie. Had my original 12-inch, my original Chewbacca doll. And yes, the Chewbacca doll does have the original bandolier. It's in there, you can see it in the back. This is my original Chewbacca figure from when I was a child. Look how loose he is. So he'll never go away. He's going to stay there forever in my collection. I've got a vintage 12-inch Vader back there, and then everything else is pretty modern. There's some vintage figures thrown in here and there. This is kind of like a Vader Stormtrooper Imperial shelf / Boba Fett shelf. Ashley Eckstein signed that 2-pack back there, by the way. Oh, I like this Boba Fett thing. This is the holiday special one. But he's cool. Another Emperor and 2 Royal Guards stuffed in back there. Like I said, this is kind of a mixed Imperial shelf. Yeah, I also got to point out that in that case there, let me grab it, is a prototype clone trooper from the vintage collection of modern, but it's one of about 15 test, they call them the test prototype. So I have one of those. This shelf is all my bounty hunters, 12-inch bounty hunters, the carded green red series in the back, and then comparisons of vintage to modern, Lego, and minifigures from the Star Wars miniature game, 6-inch black series. So it's like all the bounty hunters action figures from Kenner and Hasbro sort of, and Lego, and minifigures combined. The one thing to note, Dengar with paint on his backpack, and up here is a Dengar with no paint on his backpack. I'm told that's not an official variation yet. I have to track down a number of copies, and actually if I can find a packaged version, it would really solidify it. But so far I have 3 of them with no paint, so I'm getting closer and closer to proving that that is a real variant and not just a paint aberration. So that's cool. All these guys here, you know, the more bounty hunters, Bosk, IG-88, 4 LOM, Zuckuss. I even have bounty hunters in with the X-Wing I showed you earlier. I like bounty hunters so much. Those are all vintage again, of course. And then my droid shelf, mostly 3PO and R2. There's the modern 12-inch, and then the vintage 12-inch R2 and 3PO. Amidst an array of various 3POs and R2s, another vintage 3.75-inch selection. R5-D4 has always been a favorite of mine. A couple of them in the droid carrier. The original R2-D2 stuffed thingy, plush. Like I said, R5-D4 has been a favorite of mine. I've got, all the different carded versions of him, even the 3-pack. Kenny Baker signed this R2-D2. That's pretty cool. The R2 and R5-D4 from the thing. And now here's the cabinet you guys really want to see. This is the cool cabinet. It's got all the vintage and some vintage to modern comparisons. I've got my basic 12-ish without the aliens. The aliens are on top and in other displays. R2, 3PO, Luke, Leia, Han, small head Han, Chewie in them. Yoda's one of my guys, so Yoda's in. I have a, in addition to him, I have a cabinet full of just Yoda guys, and that's my packaged Yoda on the original first edition card that he came out on, and the puppet, the vintage puppet. Another Luke with Yoda in his backpack, training on Dagobah. So yeah, Ben, Darth Vader, Stormtrooper, the Death Squad commander. I've got my Land of the Jawas set, but it's mostly set up with the scene where Luke gets trashed by the sand people. So there's a whole bunch of sand people there ready to give Luke a beating, and Obi-Wan in the background ready to scream and scare him away. My Luke comparison area there, and I've got the next shelf, which is I guess kind of Empire/Jedi guys, mostly Jedi, right? The pilots, the Neen Nums. I got a bunch of General Nadines. The main crew, Luke, Han, Leia. I don't have the Lando, the General Lando, but I got the new vintage edition, vintage collection Lando. My Luke is missing a poncho, that's it. I love Squid Head, Prune Face. Squid Head, idiot. Admiral Akbar's a favorite of mine. I've got that comparison going there. My R5D4 comparison just kind of hanging out here too. I got 1 million of those troopers for the Endor troopers. Bunch of all the Ewoks, but 2 of the rare Ewoks are missing their head things. And there's the Dengar again without the paint. A couple variants of IG-88, and we got a couple of prototype unpainted C-3POs back there. Geez, this is more Empire, right? I loved these Cloud Car pilots for some reason, so I have 1 million of them. And Lando with and without his smile. Lobot's been a favorite of mine. I got a bunch of guards. I actually have a packaged Lobot signed by the actor. Ugnaughts. I like my Ugnaughts. I got a bunch of them. My original R5D4 is in the Y-Wing. Luke, Han, Chewie to represent for the Bespin. A couple more pilots back there. Mon Jopa. I have a couple droids and Ewok characters from the cartoons thrown in here. Now I have a whole bunch of Rogue One stormtroopers and various other characters mixed in with this Mos Eisley sort of scene. 1 million Jawas containing some newer Jawas. Droids, Garandan. There's guys from Jakku in here because there was nowhere else to put them. And I'm not going to make a whole display area just for those guys. So they're kind of mixed in here. We're pretending that, 30 years before Jakku, they were hanging out on this planet for a little while. That droid should probably be up in the sandcrawler thing, shouldn't he? Just laying down somewhere. Yes, and Walter White is tending bar here, because I don't have Wooer. My Return of the Jedi, Jabba the Hutt sort of shelf. That's pretty cool. There's an AT-ST sort of thrown in there, just in the corner with some AT-ST pilots and a bunch of biker scouts. And yeah, there's 4 more biker scouts up in the TIE Fighter display, so I have a lot of those guys too. Along with 6 more regular stormtroopers. I've got like 8 or 9 Gamorrean guards that are all mixed in through here, because I love Gamorrean guards. My R2 with lightsaber pop-out dealie. I'm missing Droopy McCool's horn. Gotta get one of those someday. So there's Squid Head. Should we say Prune Face? We'll call you Prune Face, so that other guy could be Squid Head. But this is kind of the scene where Bosch was dropping off Chewie. So here's my favorite, the Hoth battle. I've got my original... that's the one I've had since I was a kid. Snowspeeder. My original AT-AT that I've had since I was a kid. Tauntaun I've had since I was a kid. That little roller thing that the snowtroopers in I've had since I was a kid. My original Wampa's back there. And I got a new Wampa from Chris Perillo at Star Wars Radar. Thanks, Chris. I really appreciate that. I'm going to keep saying thanks to the end of time. Well, that's it. Thank you, guys. Those are some of my vintage collection to celebrate May the 4th, Star Wars Day. And I'm going to sign out here by just saying once again, Peter Mayhew, we're going to miss you.